Now let's see which visualizations can we use in order to find the correlations between any two elements. The first we have are scatter plots. Scatter plots essentially create the variation of or the variance of one element with respect to other. So they are the best plots you can use in order to find the correlation or covariance between any two elements. For elements that have more than two dimensions or multiple elements, multiple variables, we can fit one dimension into the Y channel, or we can color code this dimension in such a manner that we can have a two-dimensional representation of that. In scatter plots, one thing to take care of is overplotting. If you've got a very dense scatter plot, you may not be able to receive as much information as was required. So you see that all of this area, it looks exactly the same. You can't tell how many values are in here or here or here. Okay? So one method of fixing that is considering the alpha channel, or just as we had the logarithmic scales, we can use these scales, and now I can easily say that the density is higher in this region as compared to this, even though diagrammatically they seem to look the same. But I can easily tell from this one that the density is much lesser in over 1000 range instead of the less than 1000 range, 10,000 that is. The other we have are pie charts. Pie charts are again one of the easiest or easiest to understand charts for visual comparison between any two variables. So we can have some values of one label or one class and some values of the other class, and we can plot the differences or the amounts or ratios between these two using a pie chart. Pie charts are just as useful as bar charts, or we can say that these two charts share a same amount of complexity in terms of the information they give and the visual ease that they provide. Okay? The only difference or the advantage of pie charts is that they can give you a complete picture when we've got all of the things that equate to some value. For example, we can say that all of these companies have equal a share equals to 100%. Then in those cases, a pie chart is much better to use instead of a bar chart. Okay? Looking at this bar chart, I may not be instantly able to see that the shares of all of these companies would be equals to 100. But this would simply instantly suggest that that's the case, that the share of these companies is equals to 100. So in such scenarios, it is always better to use pie charts. Donut charts are a variation to pie charts, but they do effectively represent the same information. They just have a better visual appeal. Again, you've got multiple pies or multiple areas that provide or that corresponds to the share or information of one variable or the other variable. If, however, we are or we do want to use the bar chart for this comparative analysis, what we can use is stacked bar chart instead of a simpler one. So now we can instantly see the comparison between any two classes. I can see that what is the ratio of the first one and what is the ratio of the second one. So I can each one of these would again be equals to 100%, and I'd be able to quickly tell how much of this 100% is contributed by one and how much is contributed by the other. Here is a visual comparison. The information that we had using the pie charts can now be represented by a stacked